In the legal world, there is a combination of forces that feed a corrupt and suffocating legal system for attorneys. Law schools, law professionals, judges, and even the firms themselves for whom you work create a system, a matrix, if you will, that is nothing like what you thought when you passed the bar exam. The purpose of this podcast is to help you escape this legal matrix, leading you out of the proverbial desert to be free of the bondage of the matrix. Hosted by Bryce D. Nyer, attorney at law with over 30 years experience in the trenches of civil and criminal litigation at the state, federal, and international levels. He's a highly accomplished and resourceful legal professional, a true master of his craft, and he's here to help you get your life back. Here's your host, Bryce D. Nyer.
All right. This is Bryce D. Nyer coming at you from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg, and we have another episode of Escape the Legal Matrix, an attorney's unwavering, ruthless commitment to doing what? To escaping from the pharaohs of bondage and heading to the land of freedom. And tonight we're going to talk about this issue called chemistry. That's right, chemistry. No, not chemistry class, not physics, not that. Talking about chemistry between you as a prospective hire as a lawyer and the employer interviewing you or your client. So look, here's how this works in life. Here's the reality. When I graduated law school and I passed the bar and I started interviewing for all of these positions and jobs, here's what it really came down to. It came down to whether there was chemistry and a connection between the person that was interviewing me, and it's kind of a two-way interview because you have to decide, do I really like this guy or girl? Do I really like this place? Is my initial impression, do I get that warm, fuzzy feeling? Or is there just something where my spidey senses go off and there's a disturbance in my force and I don't feel comfortable? And for you law students, when you pass the bar or maybe you're interviewing during your final year in law school, you know, it's about chemistry. Because in reality, when they size you up, when they talk to you, they have to determine will you fit in with their organization? Will you be like them? And see, that's part of the problem I have when you kind of go and subjugate yourself to working for somebody else. And this is why I'm so adamant about you law students that you train during your third year to open, own, operate, and lead your own law firm so that when you do graduate, when you do pass the bar exam, when you do get that letter, when you do get sworn in, you've already trained a full year and you know what you need to do in real terms, in reality, to open your own law firm and lead it and set your own fees, hire your own teams, determine the areas of law. And you don't have to worry about this chemistry. And it just still astonishes me to this day of how afraid you law students are to go out and do this. Because when you sit there and you work for these other people, they are defining your value. They're going to pay you a certain salary and your benefits, and they're going to define it for you, and they're going to cage you in like an animal. And so really the connection that you have with them is only for a brief amount of time till they determine whether you're going to fit in. And once you fit, if they feel you fit in, they hire you, it's not over yet because it's this continued courting relationship, okay? It's like a dating relationship. You're new, it's exciting, blah, blah, blah. And then after a while, it kind of gets mundane and it's just like, okay, it's you again. You're like, I guess all the spice is gone. You know, it's not spicy anymore. It's not sexy anymore. It's not really fun anymore. And that is typically what happens to many lawyers that hang out for a significant period of time as an associate in a law firm. And why? Because that chemistry that they had in the beginning, it just kind of fizzles out and they become sedated. They get into these things we call pits. And they get into a rut and a routine, and they never have chemistry with themselves, so to speak. And when I was interviewing, oh God, I remember one of the firms I interviewed with, and I'm going to tell you, the chemistry, it just was not there. I did not like the senior partner. I don't know if he liked me or not. They didn't offer me the job, but I could tell the chemistry was off from the very first minute I walked into that law firm. It was just tense. It just wasn't me. It just wasn't me. Conversely, one of the other places I interviewed, I mean, from the very second I walked in, it was just snap, crackle, pop. I mean, there was just chemistry left and right. And those folks offered me a job 2 weeks later. And actually, that 2 weeks later, I got offered 2 jobs on the same day. And with both of those organizations that I interviewed with that offered me a job on the very same day, I clicked. I had chemistry. And I felt really vibrant and I felt really alive. But there were many interviews I was just like, oh man, I feel like I'm in a morgue. I feel like I'm around the Walking Dead. And it just sucked. And that's why I can't emphasize enough, especially, for you law students, is that you can't continue to have this fear. You can't have this like, oh, I can't do it. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You just have to plan and you have to deploy and you have to execute. And many of you just sit around like you're waiting, like I'll send out a letter, I'll send out a resume, I'll do an internship or a clerkship and they'll love you. Well, maybe not, because there's 1.3 million active lawyers in the country. Okay. 1.3 million as of the end of 2023, according to the American Bar Association study. And, there's so many people working for somebody else. And that chemistry was there at one time. But I'll tell you, I've been in this game for a long time. But when I sit there and speak to a lot of my colleagues they've just stayed as an associate or senior associates, they're really not all that content. They're just like, okay, it's good. Yeah, it's not good, because they really don't have the freedom at all that they could have if they commanded their own ship. And this chemistry, it just ultimately disappears. It goes away. And you're only going to get it once. It's like the first time you meet somebody that you're infatuated with, or maybe your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend. I mean, that very first time you take a look at each other and you start talking, it's really exciting. It's somebody new, it's fresh. It's like, wow, it's really cool. In the first couple of days, it's really cool. But after a while, if you don't keep the chemistry alive, it fizzles out and it dies. And that's the same way it is when you're in the legal matrix. Because the legal matrix, remember, it doesn't care. It's an animal. It's a beast. It's an absolute beast that just continues to move forward. It's almost like it's erupting out of a volcano and all that molten lava. It's moving slow, but it's slow and it's steady. And it's just burning up and consuming everything in its path. And it doesn't care. It doesn't have feelings at all. And that's what happens once you start working for somebody else, they become like the volcano and the lava that just consumes you and just melts you into, well, whatever lava melts you into. It destroys you. It burns you up into emptiness. Okay, you become a nothingness. So I want you to think about this concept. I want you to think about this about chemistry. Okay. I mean, it's just like when you make a purchase, maybe it's infatuation, that sort of thing, but there's always some sort of chemistry which is going to kick it off, whether it's chemistry in your mind, chemistry in your heart. Something is going to attract you to a person or to an event or to a company or an organization. Something there just lights a fire in you and a spark. And I'm here to suggest to you and here to tell you to consider that the person you need to really have that spark with, that you need to be in love with, that you need to be infatuated with, that you need to have that deep respect for is yourself. You need to look in the mirror and go, hey, I need to interview with myself. I need to connect with me in these domains of body, being, balance, business, and fulfillment. Because otherwise you spend all your time trying to satisfy the legal matrix. You're trying to satisfy the senior partners and everybody else around you. And you know what? At the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, at the end of all these decades, you spent your whole life trying to please everybody else. And the chemistry just burned out within a short period of time. And therein lies one of the major pits and problems for lawyers today, Because, when you're in law school, of course you want to get employment. Of course you want to go do what you've studied to do. It's exciting for most of you. But after a while, if you're awake and you're alert, which is what I'm trying to do here with these podcast series of Escape the Legal Matrix and with our junior partner program, is to get you to understand the reality of what the legal matrix is. So that from day one, when you lift off, when you just go, that chemistry is with yourself and it never burns out. And if you don't monitor your domains of body, being, balance, business, and fulfillment, your chemistry will go from full to frickin' zero. It'll be on empty. And that's what happens to a lot of lawyers. They become this soulless pit. So I want you to really take a look. Just take a second right now and think about when was it in your life that somebody or some event or some organization just really lit a fire under you and made you feel a passion to just go out there and just live and just beat down the doors and to move forward in your life. Can you remember that? Can you think back? Because that's the kind of chemistry you need to have if you're going to go out and war in the legal matrix. Now, again, some people call it the legal profession. Whatever. You call it, it's a legal matrix, what it is. Okay, that's why we're here. And I'm suggesting to you to carefully consider, especially you law students and maybe you undergraduates who already accepted the law school, or you high school students who are thinking about going into a career as an attorney and you've already been accepted to a college. Even if you're just thinking about it, you need to get in from the ground up. You need to get in the game and get involved and get the reality training. That's why here at my law firm, we do this. We offer this junior partner program. And yeah, there's a fee to do it, but what you get of the reality of opening, owning, operating, and leading a law firm, it puts you so many years ahead of everybody else because you understand then that the chemistry you have to have is a chemistry with yourself. And that's where your sole purpose will really come out. That's where you find it. So I want you to ask these better questions. Where in your world have you had this on fire chemistry before? And where do you need to have this on fire chemistry now? Because I will submit to you that if you just sit down and you list out all of your value, all of it, of who and what you are, you're going to discover that chemistry. And I'm going to suggest this to you also. Somewhere out there is a person or people that you have yet to meet that you will establish a chemistry with that will set your life on fire and just ignite your passion for the rest of your life, personally and professionally. But here's the deal. In order to do that, you've got to get raw and real and relevant with yourself. If you have questions in these areas, hey, look, reach out to me. Just email me at brycednyer@gmail.com. My first name, middle initial D is in Delta, and my last name, Nyer. N is in November, E is in Echo, I is in India, E is in Echo, R is in Romeo. brycednyer@gmail.com. Comes right to me, or call my law firm at 910-423-5000, 910-423-5000, and talk to me. Have that conversation about possibly doing the junior partner program here with us and get in the game in reality and find your chemistry. Your chemistry should not be determined by somebody else. It should be determined by what's in your heart and what's in your mind. Okay, this is Bryce D. Nyer, and it's been another great episode of Escape the Legal Matrix and attorneys, running away from bondage from the pharaohs to the land of freedom. And we've been talking about this topic and this issue of chemistry. It's something that you need to think about. I aspire and hope that that's exactly what you will do. You know where to reach me. We're just one click away or one call away. This is Bryce D. Nyer coming at you from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg, where every single day men and women don the uniform and do what? They have chemistry with going out and doing what? Fulfilling their mission and having a passion for living. Okay, we are out of here.